Here is an example of what we are going to be making today. This is just one I made earlier. I'm going to be making one with slightly different colours today, but it should look exactly the same as this. So first of all, you need some wool. It doesn't matter what colours or what type of wool or thickness. I just use the scrap yarn that I've got. So here I've just got a mixture of colours and different weights that I'll be using. So we are going to be working from the bottom of the top up to the neckline. So whatever colour you want at the very bottom of the top, take that, and we're just going to do a little knot in the end just to make sure the wool doesn't unravel. And then we're going to start by making a chain. So this chain should go from one shoulder to the other. So this will be the entire width of our top. So for me, I'm going to chain 81 stitches, but just make sure that however many you chain, it is the right size for your body. So you can just hold up against yourself and just make sure that you have the right size. But whatever number you do, make sure you do counts of 3 stitches. So whatever number of stitches you do must be divisible by 3. And then we're just going to chain 1 and turn our work, and then we're going to miss the first stitch, and then in the second stitch we're going to double crochet. And this is what we're going to do all the way across. We're just going to double crochet into every stitch along that chain. I continued using the same colour, but if you wish to change colours, that's perfectly fine. So after we've done our complete row of double crochets, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn the work. And then in our next row, we want to chain 3, and then we're going to chain 2 more. This next row, we're going to be doing double crochets. So we want to skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to double crochet into that 3rd stitch. And then when we finish that, we're going to chain 2, we're going to skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to do another double crochet into that 3rd stitch along. And then we're going to chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and then do a double crochet. And we're going to continue with this pattern for the rest of the row. So when we get to the end of the row, it should look something like this. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to turn our work, and then what we're going to start doing, instead of double crochets, we're going to do double treble crochets. So you want to start by chaining 7, and then we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook 3 times, and then just like with the row beneath, we're going to skip 2 stitches. So we're working into the 3rd stitch from the chain we just created, and then into that stitch just above the post from the round below, we're going to do our double treble crochet. And then at the top of that, we're going to chain 2. We're going to wrap our yarn around the hook 3 times. We're going to skip 2 stitches. We're going to work into that 3rd stitch just above the post from below. We're going to do another double treble crochet. And then we're going to chain 2. Wrap our yarn around the hook 3 times, and then skip 2 stitches and do another double treble crochet. And we're going to do this for 2 rows. So we're going to finish the row we just did, and then we're going to go ahead and do another row. So after we finish that, we should have 4 rows now. We should have the double crochets along the bottom, the double crochets where we skip, and then we're going to have 2 rows of double treble crochets. So from here, we're going to continue this pattern for the rest of the work. You're just using different colours. So we're going to do double, double, double treble, double treble. So after you finish that, it should look something like this. The length of the work will be dependent on how long you want your top, so just hold your work up against you. So if you hold it up against your shoulders, how long the length of the work sits across your body is how many rows you're going to do. So if you want the top to go all the way down to your hips, you're going to have to add more rows than what we've got here. If you want it lowered, maybe just below the bust, then how many rows I've done here, it will be just fine. But you want to make sure that the row you finish on is just a row of solid double crochets. You don't want to be skipping any stitches just because we want it to be a bit firmer. So after we've finished our row of double crochets, we're going to, using the same colour, we're going to slip stitch 15 stitches, and then this will form our shoulder. So however many stitches you did on your first chain across the bottom, you want to subtract 30 from that number, and then whatever number is left, we're going to do that many to chain. So I did 81 stitches, so if I just detract 30 from 81, that gives us 51, so I will chain 51 stitches. So I'll be doing 15 slip stitches, 51 to chain, and then another 15 slip stitches at the end. So as you can see, this produces 2 shoulder pads at either side, and then a nice little neck hole. So after we finish that, we're going to turn our work, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to double crochet into each of these stitches that we've just made. This now forms the front of our top and the neck hole / shoulders. So as you can see, we've started to mirror the front. So where my hands are, this is the front, and then that purple loop across the top, that will form the beginning of the back. So what we're going to do now is we're going to copy what we've done for the front and do it on the back. So as you can see, the next row beneath purple is the double treble crochet that I've done in white. So we're going to repeat that so each side of the work look exactly the same. So it's almost like the front and the back are mirroring each other. You don't have to use the same colours, but I would advise using the same stitches so they line up either side. So where there's a row of double crochets on one side, you have a row of double crochets on the other side. And where you've done double crochets on one side, you have double treble crochets on the other side as well, just so it's nice and neat. And then from there, we're going to sew our work up. So if you sew halfway up the side of the work, that will then leave a gap at the top, which is going to be our armhole. If you want your armhole a bit baggier, then don't sew quite as high up the work, because however tight it is around your armpit is how tight it's going to be down by your wrist. So after that's finished, that then leaves us with a nice little armhole. So what we're going to do here is we're going to reinsert our hook, and then using a colour of your choice, we're going to attach the yarn, and then we are going to double crochet into every stitch. Now here it's a bit harder to see where each stitch is, but again it's important just to remember that however many stitches you do, it is a number of 3, just so we can continue with our pattern that we've used previously. So when you've attached your yarn, we're just going to yarn over, and we're just going to crochet almost into every stitch, so we have our foundation chain for our armpit holes. Using the top that I crocheted earlier, you can see that I've just copied the pattern that we did for the main body. So I did a row of double crochet, and then another row of double crochet where we skip stitches, and then 2 rows of double treble crochets. And I've continued this down the arm. So the length of your arm will be dependent upon your own self, so it's important that when we're doing this, we keep holding the work up against ourselves, and you can do as many rows as you like until the arm reaches the length you desire. So as you can see, all the way down, I've just done rows double crochet, and then 2 rows of double treble crochet all the way down the end, and then hopefully your work will end up looking something just like this.